What's up YouTube, Dal here from Zephyr Wargames, and today I'm going to ask and answer the question to buy or not to buy the brand new side set Wild Survivors. So Wild Survivors is a brand new side set that is officially released on the 1st and 2nd of June and can be purchased at a local OTS store as of the 31st, which is tomorrow. Wild Survivors introduces to 3 brand new archetypes: the Vanquished Souls, based off of fighting games such as Tekken, and then of course we have Hungry Burger support, or what they are more commonly known as Nouvelles, and then of course we have Dinos. The set is a 60 card set consisting of 10 ultra rares, 15 super rares, 35 rares, and 15 of the cards in the set can also be available as collector rares. Each pack contains 7 cards, 6 of them being rares and 1 being a foil card, whether that be ultra, super, or of course collector's rare. Each pack retails from anywhere from about £4 to about $4.50 and are definitely interesting for those of you that are kind of excited about the individual archetypes. Now, when we look at the set list, you'll be able to see the differences in how each archetype was provided with the types of rarities. So let's start with Vanquished Souls. They are the ones that Konami really did dirty in this set. And the Vanquished Souls actually have a grand total of 7 ultra rares alongside 2 collector rares. And if that wasn't enough, 4 super rares. So they got given all of the higher rarity kind of cards in this set, which is why pre-orders were at about £500 and dropped down to £300. Especially for a deck that is yet to be tested in the TCG meta, hasn't really done anything in the OCG meta, and it is definitely just more the fact that there are so many high rarity cards in it, which is kind of boosting the price up. You then look at Dinos. Now, Dinos actually got a good end of this one, so they only have 1 ultra rare in the set, and then they have 3 super rares alongside 3 collector rares. So if you wanted to rarity upgrade your Oviraptors and of course your Ultimate Conductor Tyrannos, this is definitely the set for you. We then look at the Hungry Burger, or the Nouvelles, and the Nouvelles themselves didn't really get that big of a high rarity boost, which is really nice because I quite like this deck as a fun option, and they only got 2 ultra rares. So when you're kind of comparing it with what the Valiants got, they seem to have got the majority of ultra rares, which is a little bit disappointing. Then we look at the generic cards. Now, the generic cards is stuff like Enemy Controller, Law of Darkness, Eradicator, Deck Devi, and There Can Only Be One. Nothing too outstanding in my opinion. Now, not all of the collector rares I know with what I've got in front of me, but I know that Hungry Burger is one of them, Archosaur is another one, and then as we've mentioned previously, there is of course Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, Xeno Metatorius, Soul Eating Oviraptor, the Vanquished Soul main boss monster, Stake Your Soul, which I think could look really kind of cool, and of course we also have Tenki as well. So what do I think of this set? Well, the thing is, if you take a look at this and you kind of compare it to the previous 2 side sets, the side sets of Amazing Defenders and Tactical Masters, you'll see that the first wave of support for these archetypes aren't that good on standalone basis. Now, what I mean by that is if we go all the way back to Tactical Masters, you've got the Valiants, you have the Labyrinths, and you have Runics. Now, Runics themselves needed to be converged or compiled with other decks. So Sprites is very popular, Naturia, and of course at the time was Mystic Mine. So that's kind of like the Dinos in the sense that the Dinos already have existing support or existing cards that can still make them viably competitive and can do very well. You then have the Labyrinths, and I would like to compare them probably to Vanquished Souls in the sense that it's a brand new archetype but that revolves around control. Obviously, the Vanquished Souls don't revolve around control, but just a brand new archetype that after 1 or 2 levels of support definitely become huge hype decks. Now, you kind of look at when they got Lovely Lady Labyrinth and Big Welcome is when the deck really took off. So when Konami are giving Vanquished Souls 7 ultra rares, you can probably assume that they're going to want to support this in the future with 1 or 2 highly decent cards for the deck that may take them from being okay to competitively viable. Then the Nouvelles. Now the Nouvelles I think is a very fun deck. Pre-orders on these is like 70 quid, and on the Dinos is about 70 quid as well. It's just a lot cheaper and a lot easier to get in comparison to the Vanquished Souls, and it's quite nice to see. I do feel the Nouvelles again will probably be a little bit fun, and when you kind of look at Amazing Defenders, if you go all the way back, Amazing Defenders introduced us to the Mekankos, which the Mekankos at the start was probably the highest value ritual monster or the highest value card from that set. And then you look at Rescue Ace. Rescue Ace were an okay deck. They didn't really get a lot of hype until they've got their most recent support, which is due out in Dune, which is, funnily enough, due out in July. So that will be when it kind of picks up a bit of peak, and that's where the deck is now starting to gain value. You then look at Pearly. Now, Pearly, of course, kind of shared the top spot in the sense that some of the Ultras were £20 each. They started to rise to 40, then 100, and have now started to calm down. So when you're trying to look at Wild Survivors as a huge investment opportunity, obviously the money is all going to be in the Vanquished Souls. The question really does come down to, at this exact moment in time, I personally don't feel the Vanquished Souls are competitive. We haven't seen anything revealed massively from the OCG for them as yet, so we don't know the direction that Konami are going to take them. So to me, I would probably value the Vanquished Soul deck at about £100 to £150, depending on how deep you want to go with it. I definitely like the artwork. I like the concept behind it. I just cannot justify £300 for a deck that is yet to prove itself. And even in written text, doesn't seem like it's going to topple the meta or be able to deal with something like Kashtira's. So it's like, well, I could spend less than £300 on a full Kashtira deck, and I know that's going to be safe for the next four months. Or I can wait on the Vanquished Soul, spend £300 on the hope they may or may not hit the competitive peak that I would want them to. So that's it for the kind of comparison to the other sets and what it kind of partakes. Now, I feel that the Ultra Rares could have definitely been more well balanced. Like I said before, I do like the artwork on the Vanquished Souls in comparison, and I do like the theme behind the Hungry Burger being obviously food related and in like a 5-star Michelin restaurant. I think that's really kind of cool. I think the dinos look cool as well, and it's definitely awesome to kind of see them kind of come back into the fray and see what they can do with the new support. Now, I'm not saying the new support is going to again make them top tier meta, but when you're looking at possibly paying 50 to 70 quid to upgrade dinos, or 50 quid to get a Hungry Burger deck, and then you compare that to a Vanquished Soul where it's like £300, we definitely know which one is more budget friendly and which ones are going to be a bit more fun and competitive as it currently stands. So, going back to the question, to buy it or not to buy it Wild Survivors, well, it's hard to justify buying the singles of Vanquished Souls right now. I feel at £300, that's just way too much. It's definitely something that if it does drop down to about the 150 mark, that's definitely worth looking into, because I do feel that it could be a fun future deck. The dinos, to me, as a single purchase, or of course the Hungry Burger, is a definite. I feel they're very, very kind of cool because they are just so much cheaper, and I feel the Hungry Burger deck does look a lot of fun. I can't see anything in the immediate future for Hungry Burgers to kind of take them from being a fun deck into high-level competitive nature, but it's still something that, again, if you can probably pick up a core for about 50 quid or less, it could be quite fun to play around with at locals. Dinos, on the other hand, it's quite nice to have a different direction to take the dinos with a brand new Fusion, Synchro, and XYZ. It definitely unlocks different levels and different manipulations, not to mention the return of Denglong as well could very help these dinos play around it. We know that Misk is not coming back at least for the next 4 months, so you don't know where that's going to go. And when you look at dinos themselves, I feel they've got enough generic dino support that Konami may not provide future support for these. I feel with the Nivelias and of course the Vanquished Souls, they've definitely got a higher chance of getting support in the next OCG set and furthermore. So it's one of the ones that you want to be looking at these cards in a sense of, well, if I get them now, are they going to rise or fall in value? Will it take 1 or do they need 2 or 3 broken cards in order to kind of up their game a little bit and make them compete? That being said, if you do have a local environment, it's always worth supporting them, buying 1 box or so just to kind of chance your luck. You never know if you get a collector's rare. Some of them can pay for the box themselves, and you kind of want to support your local environment if it is a pleasant local environment to be at, because you do not want your locals to be shutting down. You want them to keep being around in order for you to continue to play Yu-Gi-Oh in a physical capacity. So to me, personally, I won't be getting any boxes on this one. I will be talking to my local environment and seeing if they are going to be selling singles and picking them up from there. Or if not, then I might have to chance my luck of buying a box from the locals just in order to try and get some of the cards I want. I would really like to get Vanquished Souls, but I know I'm definitely not going to get all of that from a box. So that's definitely something I might need to consider at singles, but that's not going to happen until the prices come down. In regards to box pulls, if I do get more Novellias, I'll start looking at getting the rest of the singles for that. And if I get more dinos, that's only going to help cultivate with the dinos I already have. And I'm a huge admirer of the dino deck. And it's going to be interesting to see what these cards can do for it in the future as well. But for now, I hope this is going to give you a bit of a breakdown and an insight when you're comparing Wild Survivors to the previous side sets, and whether you should be going out and pre-ordering these straight away, whether you should wait in a little bit to see if the prices come down, and whether you want boxes or singles. For now, as absolutely always, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Stay safe. And of course, happy dueling.